NASA stands for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Invented in 1958, NASA's original purpose was to perform non-military space activity for the United States government. Many of their projects have been successful, and lots of the technologies developed by the administration has not only benefited the future of space exploration, but us down on the ground as well. Due to NASA's research, so many important technologies have been utilized for applications not involving space exploration. One of NASA's biggest contributions is in the form of what you just might be laying on at night. Memory foam was developed for NASA 50 years ago for use in NASA's airplane seats. Nowadays, the foam has had so many more applications. NASCAR has begun using memory foam in order to help drivers remain safe after near-fatal crashes. In the military, it's used to help limit the pressure impact on people wearing bulletproof vests. And of course, the material is still used for astronauts to help them adjust to Earth's gravity. It helps test human mobility after returning from a trip to space. NASA technology stems past cushions as well. In the 1990s, smaller, more portable cameras were needed for spacecrafts. Nowadays, all iPhones contain 1/3 of the technologies developed by NASA to help solve this problem. Space is very cold, and with the invention of aluminized polyester, they were able to insulate not only spacecrafts, but many of our modern homes as well. Research into digital imaging for space exploration helps pave the way for CAT scanners and radiography, two crucial systems used to help diagnose patients. NASA has made other contributions to the medical field as well. Their solar-powered refrigerators are perfect for storing vaccines, especially in case of a power loss to a facility. The vaccines will remain cool. They also have developed systems that give medical readings faster, sensors that display the body's metabolism, and devices enabling medication management. However, it doesn't end there. NASA has plenty of ambitious and game-changing plans for the future. They're putting lots of work into the Mars 2020 rover, which will look for signs of ancient microbial life, finally answering the question of whether or not there has ever been life on Mars. NASA will soon be using the James Webb Space Telescope to investigate every phase of our universe. It will soon become the largest telescope ever launched, amounting to twice the size of the Hubble telescope. Using infrared sensors, the James Webb Telescope will be able to examine the Big Bang, the start of our universe, the beginnings of the Milky Way galaxy, and the evolution of our solar system. Perhaps one of their most optimistic plans is to colonize the moon and turn it into a lunar outpost used for even longer distance travel. On May 14th of this year, NASA has put out a video on YouTube explaining their expectation of putting men on the moon long term by the year 2024. They plan to do this first using the SLS, or the Space Launch System. The SLS is the fastest, most innovative rocket NASA has produced. The rocket is able to carry both humans and large cargo to the moon in one trip, leading to the possibility of going to the moon much more viable. The rocket will need to reach a speed of at least 24.5 thousand miles per hour in order to break out of Earth's orbit, which is 7,000 miles per hour faster than the International Space Station orbits Earth. Secondly, NASA has created Orion, a space capsule capable of protecting astronauts through multiple environments. Orion features many technological advancements that have been incorporated into the spacecraft. NASA will be introducing a revolutionary new abort system that will greatly improve the safety of those traveling within Orion. Life support propulsion and thermal protection systems have been implemented in order to provide use for long-term space travel. Orion has already successfully been through many tests to confirm its strength during the harsh conditions of exiting and entering the atmosphere. Finally, NASA has begun working with international groups to put scientific instruments and other tech onto the surface of the moon, as well as launching a spaceship known as Gateway to orbit the moon. The Gateway, acting as a lunar outpost, will be used as a refueling depot, servicing platform, and a place to store and analyze samples collected on the moon. The launching of the Gateway will unfold in 2 steps. The first part of Gateway will launch on a private rocket in 2022. Then, after a year of orbiting the moon, astronauts will launch the SLS in Orion, bringing 2 new parts to the Gateway. Using the moon can have many benefits when it comes to long-distance space travel. It has recently been discovered that the moon contains ice water. This means that we can extract the water to drink and to use, as hydrogen can be used as a fuel once separated from the oxygen and water. That's why the moon is a perfect place to set up as a nearby refueling zone and is critical to NASA's vision of eventually putting people on Mars. However, even with all these amazing programs and missions, NASA's budget is only a very small percentage of the total federal budget. Even though Trump increased NASA's budget from $19.5 billion to $20.7 billion, it still only makes up around 0.5% of the total budget. While the US military's budget is $490 billion, or around 15% of the total budget. In a time when our nation has a bigger military than all other countries combined, some question whether that money could be better spent. NASA's biggest achievement, the Apollo missions, which brought men to the moon, only costed $167 billion over 13 years, rather than the military, which spends 3 times that in just 1 year. With a bigger budget, NASA could continue to fund the International Space Station, the biggest man-made satellite to orbit Earth, which is expected to shut down by 2024 due to a lack of funding. The ISS has benefited us greatly, especially when it comes to improving and researching vaccines for diseases. They're also able to monitor water quality and natural disasters in a way that we cannot while on the ground. Not only this, but also with more funding, missions to the moon and to Mars could be drastically faster and much more realistic. NASA would also be able to launch more missions to other planets in our solar system, as well as their moons. NASA has achieved so much, not only for space exploration, but for us down on the ground as well. Many of their experiments have led to thousands saved in the medical field, as well as making life easier for others with brilliant inventions like memory foam and strong insulation. They are currently working on a variety of projects, all that are helping to make our world better and stronger. Although things have slowed down when it comes to interest towards outer space since the space race, hopefully NASA can re-energize the world with their missions to the moon and beyond.